And just about set for puck drop from Winsport in Calgary as the newly named Canadian national women's team takes on the newly named, as of yesterday, U22 development squad that'll be taking on the United States in a series of games later this week. Hi again, everybody. My name's Tyler King with our whole HN Live crew. Happy to be with you for this one, as it's the national women's team to your right in the red jerseys, in front of goaltender Anne-Renee Desbiens, the defending Olympic gold medalists. To our left, it's the development squad. Kayla Osborne is between the pipes for them. More about the goaltenders in mere moments as Marie-Philippe Poulin is out to take the opening draw. We are underway in both of these teams' final tune-up before moving out of intra-squad play. So that's the aforementioned Desbiens spinning that one up the far wall. This, the national women's team, getting set for the World Championships in Denmark. Banked ahead for Poulin. She barrels her way in. Had it poke check free as it's scooped up by Megan Carter, the Milton, Ontario native. Dishes to center, and Daniel Serdachny's through neutral. Moves over to Shirley, and then that feed back in front deflects up and out of play, and we get our first whistle and a look at Anne-Renee Desbiens out of Clermont, Quebec. 5 starts for the national team of the Beijing Games with a .940 save percentage and 1.8 goals against. Her second Olympic medal was on the 2018 team that won silver as well, and was back in 2017 the NCAA's top collegiate player while playing for the University of Wisconsin. As it'll be tough to sort of differentiate between these two teams. They're both technically Team Canada. The Reds are the national women's team. The Whites are the development team. We'll try to shorten it as best as we can. Quick turnover there. That one taken by Ella Shelton, who's out to the red line. Shoots that one ahead. Out of Ingersoll, Ontario. Also a grad of the Beijing Games, where she played 7 games. Had 3 assists in that Olympic tournament. Sarah Fillier there couldn't get that one through as it's scooped up and knifed to neutral by Maddie Wheeler. Sent right back in by the national team, though. And Stephanie Markowski has this now for the development squad. Spun to neutral, and now Jennifer Gardner out of Surrey, BC, trying to fling that one in front. Emily Clark got in the way that time. Another feed out to the point. That long one from Sarah Swiderski was gloved away by Desbiens. Fluttered out to neutral. Here comes the national team. It's Victoria Bach carrying in. Put it toward the crease, and unable to tap it home was Blair Turnbull, who had gotten to the front of the net. Recollected at the red here, but we've got a glove pass called, and that'll draw a whistle that stops play. Emily Clark there, you see number 26 for the national team. Also a 2-time Olympic medalist, in 18 with the silver and 22 with the gold, and a 5-time World Championship medalist as well, winning gold in both 2019 and 2021. Desbiens settles another one down there. That was Gabriel David there in the corner trying to take it away for the development squad. Couldn't quite do it. Bounce to neutral, could be an odd man rush here as the sharp angle try from Emma Malte didn't get through. Good save there from Kayla Osborne. Re-corralled once again. O'Neill tips that one in deep. Another hectic line change there for the development squad. This allows Marie-Philippe Poulin to carry it and get hauled down. And that'll draw our first power play of this one. Hooking call there as the breakout speed of Marie-Philippe Poulin will send her team to the first power play of this one. Into the box goes Nicole Gosling, and certainly nothing untoward about a play like that to prevent one of the best players in Team Canada history from getting to the front of the net unobstructed. So a power play here for Canada's national women's team, just named today. I believe it was less than 2 hours ago that the news was made official as to the national team for the upcoming Worlds in Denmark. This development squad, as we mentioned, will be hosting the United States later this week for a series of games, as will the U18 squad that you saw also here on hockeycanada.ca during this summer showcase. He's on the power play. Erin Ambrose got that to Poulin, playing the point and dishing down low. Got it back in front as Nurse tried to put that one across, but it went off of a stick and couldn't find Sarah Fillier, who was waiting at the far side. But a keep in at the point here, and the national team goes back to work. Marie-Philippe Poulin Wears number 29. We'll probably see a lot of her, and rightfully so. She settles it down between her skates there and gets it to the point. Poulin again, quick one-time feed across there, but it misses Fillier. Recollects and tips it down low. Brianne Jenner's down there. The MVP of the 22 Olympic Games, gotten to Ambrose at the point. That one tipped on goal, and a good pad save from Osborne. And she holds on for a whistle-stopping play. Our first close look at the Rideau Lakes, Ontario native, who played 20 games for Colgate University in the NCAA ranks. Went 13-5-1 with a .911 save percentage, and also had a silver medal at the Women's World Under-18s back in the 2019-20 campaign. Face off to Osborne's left. There, Eldridge spins this one free up the wall. Maddie Wheeler gets in there for the development team to try to jar that free. They'll keep it in at the point, though. Get it over to Victoria Bach, who cuts in and shoots. Good glove snag again from Osborne. She holds on to that one for a whistle. So just under half of this power play gone for Canada's national women's team, wearing the red jerseys, and this development squad doing a pretty darn good job of holding them at bay, at least so far. Clean face-off win, though, here as that comes to Jocelyn Larocque. And now to Bach and back to Larocque. Then dished off to the far side. Going to come up to O'Neill in the high slot. Another good save there as it's then gobbled up by Osborne in the crease. Furious set of opportunities here for the national women's team on their first power play of this one. As we see Kristen O'Neill, number 43, who won a gold at the World Championships back last year. Oakville, Ontario native, and forward on this power play unit, sets up for that draw. But it's going to bounce by Larocque at the point. She'll have to get back to it at the neutral zone. Victoria Bach carrying in. Had it poked free, though, and the other way skates Sarah Wozniewicz. She gets poke checked as she tried to drive to the front, but a good penalty kill shift nonetheless. And the national team has to recollect back in their own end. Plenty of returning alumni from that 22 Beijing squad that secured the gold in dramatic fashion. Bounced all the way down ice once again. Last seconds here as Blair Turnbull holds on behind her own net and starts up ice. Out of Stellarton, Nova Scotia is Blair Turnbull, who was also part of that Beijing team. That feed too far, though, for Jamie Lee Rattray, and that'll mean a face-off all the way back in the national team's end, and a chance here for Canada's newly named development squad to put some pressure on. Only one shot on goal for them so far, but of course they were down on that PK early in this one. The face-off coming to the right of Anne-Renee Desbiens. One of many University of Wisconsin grads on this national team. Emily Clark carries in, drops off for Ella Shelton down in the corner. But she's swarmed by a couple defenders. Dug free Lexi Adzija getting to that. That's knocked out to the center circle. Marie-Philippe Poulin once again. Zigzagging to the red, and the pass ahead too far for Sarah Nurse. Had to try to chase it down at the end wall, but couldn't get there. And it's banked all the way down past the skate of Megan Mickelson, and the St. Albert native has to recollect back in her own end. Now for Jenner. Dropped off, and a good poke check there, nearly taken back. Wheeler does get to that. Leaves for Amy Potomac to carry her way in. Tangles up with a defender and falls. Kept pressure on momentarily there. That was McKinnon trying to one-hand it back in, but now Poulin settles it down and carries right back in. Dishes across for Sarah Nurse. She's down to the corner with it, but pushed down by May Batherson. One of a few Nova Scotians on the ice in this one. Batherson out of New Minas, NS. Bounce back to the neutral zone here, and back was Ashton Bell to collect that. Now for Brianne Jenner. An NCAA champion in both 2017 and 18 with Clarkson was Ella Shelton. As there, Larocque tried to jam it free from the side of the net, couldn't quite do it. Danielle Serdachny carries the other way. Spun in behind the net, Sophie Shirley there. Jams it free for Serdachny to try to center. Got caught up in sticks though. And the national team recollect and put it out to neutral. Serdachny once again for the development squad. ties up with Eldridge, who fell there. Now the national team with some space to start through center. The carry in there by Renata Fast, who's down to the end wall. In there helping is Mika Zandi-Hart. Got it out to the point, and that long wrister snagged by Osborne. And she holds on for another whistle. She's had to be pretty quick with some of the traffic we've seen in front, as we see Mika Zandi-Hart there out of British Columbia, Cornell University grad, who won gold in 2022 as well. We'll be saying that a lot, as we said, about the players in red on the national women's team. That one perfectly fed across, and Stacy couldn't get a shot through, though. Zandi-Hart to keep in, though. The development team trying to put a little bit of pressure on, but it's spun for Laura Stacy here. Had to handle that in some snow, but does get it to neutral. And now it's Kristen O'Neill barreling in. That one just missed by a little. And now Emma Malte down in the corner. Got stripped of it, and it's going to come out to the red. Victoria Bach once again. Out of Milton, Ontario. Nice little move. Dishes around a defender and then gets a point-blank shot away. Another good save. Kayla Osborne making some big stops early in this game. The U22's trying to get this out and stop some of this pressure from the national team. And Cherkowski there with a nice feed to neutral, and see what they can do now. Shot in by Lexi Edzia, and they head off for a line change. And the national team with a chance to counterattack once again. 6-1 the shots on goal for the national team as Turnbull sweeps it ahead. Didn't go in deep, though, as he got caught up in front of the bench. So can the development team make them pay? Maddie Wheeler gets that one in deep. And again, quickly take it back, and boy, can you ever tell these national team players know where each other are without even having a look. That feed across, nearly a one-time beauty for Larocque. Bounced back in front and pounced on by Osborne for a whistle. But Jocelyn Larocque there had an awesome opportunity. As we get a look at her there in the middle of her screen. If that puck hadn't been up on end, she'd be able to get everything on it. It probably would have found its way through, as the net was practically wide open. 7 games played for her in Beijing. 3-time Olympic medalist at the 22 Olympics, the gold, of course. The silver in 18, the gold in 14, and an 8-time World Championship medalist, too. So a media timeout here at Winsport in Calgary, as the teams will converge at their benches. Of course, you may ask, why do those in intra-squad games? And of course, when you get to these international tournaments, you have to deal with those occasional stoppages in play, and it makes sense to get used to how a game flows when you have those automatic timeouts. Same too for the coaching staff, to be able to utilize those breaks as efficiently as possible to review things with their teams. And a heck of a start to this one, too. Really only 2 or 3 whistles. One great power play opportunity for the national team, but the stars so far, Kayla Osborne in between the pipes for the development squad. Made 6 saves so far in this one. So back to game action here. Face-off will be in the development team's end, as you see Brianne Jenner there with some instructions for her line mates. Also 3-time Olympic medalist, much like Jocelyn Larocque, as we mentioned. And it's the national team winning this draw. Spinning that one down low. And puck bouncing free back into the development squad's end. Spun down for Jenner in the corner. Centering feed there, just missing Larocque once again. Pass was just a little bit in behind her, but you can tell they're trying to set her up for that big shot to open this one. She's got the puck at neutral here. Larocque going to chase this down, partial 2-on-1 here. Got Nurse in front. Nice move to the front herself, though. And the spinorama backhander just went wide on the short side. And another feed in front, and that one-timer from Brianne Jenner was blocked. The development squad a little bit under siege here, but getting in the way at the right times as Amy Potomac carries in, but it's going to be a whistle on an offside, and the faceoff will go back out to the neutral zone. So Jocelyn Larocque's had a couple of really good opportunities so far in this one. We saw Jenner with that one-timer from the high slot as well that nearly opened the scoring. 14 points in 7 games at the Beijing Games. Tournament MVP and named to its all-star squad as well. Pass there, Mrs. Wheeler going to go all the way down. Should be icing again, and it is. And another offensive zone opportunity coming up here for the national team. We'll get a quick change in and try to put some more pucks toward goaltender Kayla Osborne. Chance off the draw for Clark, that one. Nearly found its way through. Emily Clark, though, denied again. That's 7 saves now for Osborne. Clark there scores! Emily Clark from the top of the blue paint. Took a perfect feed from the corner. It might have been Turnbull who got it to her. But either way, it's Emily Clark who just one-times that one. Top shelf. Opens the scoring, makes it 1-0 for the national team. Goal coming at 9:55 of the first period. Emily Clark, the 5-time World Championship medalist, 2-time Olympic medalist. Part of those gold medal teams at the Worlds in 2019 and 2021, as well as the Beijing gold medal team. Was denied on that first opportunity, but then from perfect position there right at the top of the crease. Took that nice feed from the corner. And not much that Osborne can do on that one. Still 7 saves on 8 shots, and most of them have been dandies, that's for sure. Rattray down to the corner with it. Trying to backhand wraparound again. Osborne getting in the way. Sarah Swiderski there, stymied at the red, and the national team can carry right back in. It's a bounced off Rattray's stick. She recollects, though, leaves for Poulin, fed down low, and it just hops off that stick and wide. Good quick play there from Marie-Philippe Poulin, who settled it down as she carried into the zone and nearly dished it down low. It was actually Laura Stacey who was in front of the net looking for that pass from Poulin. It just bounced off her and wide. It's Andy Hart with a feed to neutral there. Once again, Erin Ambrose leading the rush down to the corner with it. Loses it though, and can the development squad push it the other way? Trying to listen for the call on this one, but it sometimes resembles, the teacher from Charlie Brown when you try to listen to public address announcements in certain buildings. Had Zia here at her own blue. Dishes to the other side. The Dev team finally getting a puck in on goaltender Desbiens, but a sharp angle one there, easily handled by the Clermont, Quebec native, and we step aside for another brief timeout. 1-0 on Emily Clark's wonderful one-timer from the top of the crease. Hockey fans, if you or someone you know is beginning their hockey journey or starting one for their kids, make sure you start at hockeycanada.ca. Whether you're interested in learning more about minor hockey, girls and women's programming, para hockey, or skill development, everything you need to know is just a few clicks away. Go to hockeycanada.ca/play for more details. Or details for those of you from east of Montreal. Face off to Desbiens' right in the national women's team zone. Emily Clark, the only goal scorer in this one so far, just moments ago, making it 1-0 against Canada's newly named U22 development squad. It's getting set for a friendly series with the United States later this week, in concert with the national U18 squad, which was also named yesterday, which will take on the U.S. The players in red, though, getting set for the World Championship this year coming up in Denmark. It's the puck battle behind Kale Osborne's net. Spent a lot of time down in this zone, unsurprisingly so, with the great chemistry we've seen from this national women's team's squad so far. Bell bouncing that one in deep. That's Ashton Bell out of Deloraine, Manitoba. Taken right back by the development team, though. And good pressure here as Amy Potomac managed to take that one away. Drives her way down to the corner with it, then dishes it up top. And a chance there from Julia Gosling, and that's a good save on the butterfly from Anne-Renee Desbiens. Julia Gosling out of London, Ontario there. Her first action, getting a great shot there from just inside the ringette line. You can see listed there at 5'10", one of the more imposing players you'll see on the ice. Swiderski there off the draw, manages to deflect that down to the far wall. Laura Stacey got there first for the national team, but a keep in from Gosling, who knifes it down low, and Jocelyn Larocque has to get back to it. Blind backhand feed the other way, just out of the reach of Renata Fast, but she gets it all the way down to the opposing line. And can they dig this one free? Been furious on the forecheck there, but nicely met by Swiderski for the development squad. The national team, though, getting it back, and here's Larocque at the blue line. Jocelyn Larocque, that one through traffic, it just floats wide. Going to come to Fast, trying to drop that one off. Laura Stacey dishes it down low, and Sarah Nurse gets to this, but tangled up with Rylan McKinnon, number 5 in white. And now it's dug at by Malte. Taken back by the development team. This is Swiderski with a bit of space. Needs to head off for a change as she gets that pass away. The national team getting back to it in their own end. Here's Zandy Hart out to neutral for Nurse. Now here they come. Head in front for Poulin, but she had her stick tied up at the last second there. Couldn't get that one through. Going to come down to Jenner in the corner. Brianne Jenner there, double teamed. Going to need that puck poked all the way out to the red line for the recollect by Shelton. But then taken right back, and Lexi Edzia carries in. Tried to cut to the high slot, but it was poked free. And Cherkowski there taps it back to the point. And Nicole Gosling down the wall. Can spin it around back of the cage, but it'll be recollected by the national team once again. Play 3 full 20-minute stop time periods, as that's icing. Bit of a rare miscue there from the national women's squad, and it'll be an offensive zone draw coming up for the development team when we return. Third and final media timeout in the first period of our final game of this national women's team summer showcase. Allowing us to remind you that, are you looking for a great opportunity to share your passion with your kids, spread your knowledge of the game, or give back to the next generation of hockey stars? Becoming a coach with your local hockey association is a rewarding experience. No prior experience necessary. Head on over to hockeycanada.ca/coaching for more information. So plenty of strategy talked over during that last timeout as Desbiens heads back between her pipes. And off that icing call against the national women's team, the development squad gets a chance to put some pressure on here. They're being outshot in this game 10-3. Been some good spurts for them, though, nonetheless. It is, of course, a younger, less experienced team going up against a national women's team that's full of returning players from that Beijing squad that have already played plenty of international tournaments together, and you can see the chemistry on display right away. It's a treat to see for sure. But a good battle started by the development team. Good job by the national squad to get it out to Sarah Potomac at neutral, though. She'll carry her way in, spin with it, bank it out to the point. Keep in from Fillier, who jammed it down the dasher, but not in deep. Wozniewicz puts it all the way back into the national team's end. Another takeaway for the development squad in their own end. Wozniewicz now trying to poke at that in front of the penalty boxes. Does get it in deep in the national team zone, but again, the development team's off for a change. Potomac again with a feed up the middle. Carry in there is by Blair Turnbull. She was stripped of it in behind the net as her teammates were on a change that time. Now the development squad. Serdachny driving into the slot with it. The point blank shot turned away by Desbiens. Best chance of the game for the development team. As Daniel Serdachny just found another gear and drove to the low slot. But barely getting the blocker in the way that time. Anne-Renee Desbiens standing tall. Another takeaway here for the national team. That's Malte with a sharp angle try, and Osborne not allowing any rebound. It's held on to for a whistle stopping play. So just the one goal still. So we get a look at Emma Malte out of Burlington, another member of that 22 gold medal winning squad. And back in 2020 was the top female collegiate player in the NCAA with Ohio State University. That one's flung middle. It's going to bounce right into the glove of goaltender Osborne. She holds on for another whistle there. The national team now tripling their opposition in shots, 12-4. Malte is in for another draw here. Wins it cleanly once again. And it's gotten to Jocelyn Larocque, who could have 2 goals in this one. Gets another shot away. The screen came just a little bit too late, and Osborne could see it the whole way. We see Jocelyn Larocque again out of St. Anne, Manitoba. 3-time Olympic medalist, 8-time World Championship medalist. Looking for another in Denmark coming up this year. As it deflects all the way back to the red line. Larocque once again. Out to neutral for Malte, who can deflect that in deep. Laura Stacey there is pinned in to help out. It's Kristen O'Neill. Amy Potomac just on top of her trying to prevent some play there. 2 of them get tangled up down there, and it's going to be a glove pass as a result. So the face-off will come back out to the neutral zone once again. Marie-Philippe Poulin wins that draw cleanly. Zandy Hart back to get it at her own blue. Now Sarah Nurse. Leading her way in, had Poulin going to the front, but tangled up well by Cherkowski there. And Ann Cherkowski will lead this rush, carrying in. Took a quick shot, and it was blockered away from Desbiens. Another board battle here, and the national team come away with it. That's Zandy Hart behind her own net. Flung up the middle, Poulin. Poulin getting a return pass. Couldn't settle it down, though. He took away that real estate in front of the net. Mickelson now at the point. Couldn't get that one back down low. And the recollect there from Ella Shelton. Now to Mickelson. Leaves in turn for Potomac to carry in. Driving down to the end wall with it. Poke check by McKinnon on the development team. But the national squad keep the pressure on. Eldridge here with the spin move. Put it down low to Mickelson. Pinned by McKinnon. And a 4-player battle ensues down there, with the development squad coming away with it. Can they get it out, though? It's tough against this squad. Ella Shelton now driving her way in behind. Shelton tangled up with Connors there, or rather with Gabrielle David. Comes back to the point, and Larocque is there for the keep-in. Dish down low, and Stephanie Markowski gets in the way, but that one airmailed into the bench. It's heads up, but nobody any worse for wear. Face-off, though, will come back into the development team zone, being outshot 13-5 in this one, but holding their own with just a 1-0 deficit. With that series for this development team against the United States coming up, what better way to really attune yourself for the best competition possible than playing against a team that's primarily returning players from the Beijing Olympics. Doesn't get much tougher than that. Swiderski banked that one ahead. Now Serdachny the carry in, centering feed, and tripped up to the slot with Sophie Shirley. That's going to draw the development team's first power play of this one. Tripping is the call, as it was number 9 Sophie Shirley out of Saskatoon, who drove her way in front from the right circle, got taken down. And after a successful penalty kill of their own, the development team goes to their first power play of this one and a chance to equalize late in this first period. Wouldn't that be a fun story after really spending a lot of time with this opening frame in their own end? Again, as you'd expect against a more experienced, chemistry-laden national women's team squad, for them to come back and make a game of it again here right away. But easier said than done. As for all the offensive panache we've seen from the national women's team so far in this game, we know they are more than responsible in their own end too, as they demonstrate here with an early clearance and then some PK pressure from O'Neill. More pressure there. Malte almost took it away. Zandy Hart getting to it. Driving in behind. Couldn't get that one in front, but as long as the puck's in this end, it works just fine for the NWT. Finally a feed to neutral here. Sarah Paul getting to this one for the carry-in. She's trying to set up things on the power play here, but not giving them an inch is the national women's team. It's tough for them to set up, as Ashley Messier has to cut back behind her own net. Ooh, almost stripped of it there, but backed up by a teammate. As again, Sarah Nurse was in there with some good forecheck pressure on the PK. Here comes Sarah Swiderski through the red line. Pushes ahead for Serdachny to carry in. So that pop to the slot. Quickly the national team clear it to the wall. A good keep in there. Swiderski's got some space now. Fed high slot. Serdachny had it poked free. Backed up though by a teammate in Gardner. And Jennifer Gardner drops off for Serdachny again. Then the feed middle, poked out to neutral. Very alert play. Once again, Brianne Jenner on the PK there. Getting that lumber in the way before that could be a scoring opportunity. Time ticking away in the first period. Short-handed opportunity now with Clark looking for her second. That one was deflected wide. Clark again with a centering feed, and the one-timer just deflects wide of the net. That was Blair Turnbull skating in, who tapped her stick on the ice in frustration. Not too fiercely, though, because, of course, she's still on the PK. Wouldn't want to break the stick and give them a 5-on-3 the other way. But they do end up ending the first period with a successful penalty kill for the national women's team. They get a goal off the stick of Emily Clark, and they lead this one 1-0 over the Canadian development squad after 20 minutes. Second period is coming up in mere moments. You are watching the National Women's Team Summer Showcase on hockeycanada.ca. Emily Clark has the only goal of this one, the Saskatoon native, two-time Olympic medalist, with a one-timer from the top of the crease, and that's all she wrote so far between Canada's national women's team, dressed in red on the left, and the U22 development team in white on the right. See if the development squad can push back. They got 5 seconds of power play to start this second period. So they try to get a chance right away here. Flung to the crease, but broken up in front. Got a hurt player behind the play for the national team. Nothing going to come of that, though. Flung all the way down here, and no icing as the national team beats that one out. Here comes the development squad once again. Anne-Renee Desbiens still between the pipes for the national team. 4 players converging behind her net. Flung free right to the slot, and a quick alert one-timer there. That was from Ashley Messier, nearly found its way through. And the feed there from Erin Ambrose just deflected right back to Desbiens, and she'll pounce on that one and get herself a whistle. So a bit of an awkward start to this one for certain. As Erin Ambrose skates back to the bench. Another returnee from the 22 gold medal winning squad. Was also an all-star at the 2021 World Championship, where Team Canada also won gold. One of many Clarkson grads on this team. Clarkson and Wisconsin among the top schools producing players on the national squad this year. That one poked free. On the attack is Ashton Bell. And a point-blank shot denied. Rebound, scores from a sharp angle. Couldn't quite tell who got the final stick on that one. It might have been Brianne Jenner. No, it was Marie-Philippe Poulin. Well, when in doubt, go with her. And she managed to knock it free from just outside the left post to make it a 2-0 lead. The Beauceville, Quebec native. Goal coming just 1:03 into this second period. As it was, I believe, Hannah Murphy now back between the pipes for the development squad. I should have mentioned there with the Colgate University colored pads. We'll double check when we get a moment there. Should be number 30 between the pipes there for the development squad. And it'll be the national team recollecting back in their own end. Micah Zandy Hart back there. Manages to knife it free around some good pressure, and Sarah Nurse will leave again. Zandy Hart spins it up the wall, or up the left side, I should say. Knocked to neutral by Bell that time. And Poulin spins it in deep as they head for a change. Another icing call, it looks like here, as the development team shoots it in from behind the red, so a whistle stops play, and we'll try this one all over again back in the O-zone for Jesse Eldridge's squad out of Barrie, Ontario. Colgate University forward who scored a whopping 54 points in 38 games back in the 18-19 season. Played for Montreal in the PWHPA Pro ranks in the 2021 season. National team putting pressure on again. That was Fillier putting it behind the cage. Going to roll up to Ella Shelton, who cuts down the wall. Shelton had it poke check free. And the development team, if they hustle here, could get something. Jennifer Gardner carrying in. Nifty move toward the slot, but there were 3 red sweaters in the way. Here we go now with Jesse Eldridge again. Poke check nicely, though, by Megan Carter as she carried in. And then Nicole Gosling can spin that all the way back to the opposing blue. Renata Fast back to scoop it up, but we got a penalty behind the play. Looks like the development team with a body checking penalty, or is that interference? Interference. And it's going to Sarah Potomac, so another power play for the development team, which had a bit of trouble in that power play near the end of the first period. It was great PK pressure from the national women's team to get a couple of chances. See if they can turn things around here, but it's going to be another early clear. So on the power play now, Kristen O'Neill got a stick lift in there for the national team. Leaves in turn for Stacey. Turned over in front. The point blank backhander. Wheeler's denied on a great shot, or on a great save from Desbiens. Was a great shot as well, to be fair. Here's the puck at the point for Messier. Dish to Wheeler. Back across, and it was just out of Potomac's reach. It's Amy Potomac on the development squad. Sarah is on the national women's team. Now again, Gosling sweeps that one in on Desbiens. And it's settled down for Micah Zandy Hart. She shoots it all the way down. So it is indeed Hannah Murphy who's between the pipes for the development team, but that's why I got confused. She's wearing 35. The roster said she was number 30, but it says Murphy, and she's wearing Colgate University colored pads. So Hannah Murphy out of Bradford, Ontario is now officially between the pipes for the development team. Apologies for not catching that right off the hop there, as it's flung back in front. Clark picks that one off. Now fast carrying in on a short-handed rush, and that one blocked. And the development team gets something going here on the power play. They haven't been able to set up at all, because the national women's team does not give them any space at all to do so. And it's tough to hurry plays against such skilled players. Maggie Connors now with it. Couldn't get that one in deep. A good glove gotten in the way there. And then glove down to Brianne Jenner. Nothing untoward about that in the defensive zone. And Jenner leaves for Jocelyn Larocque. She fed it back behind the cage there, though, and it misses Ashton Bell. So a chance here for Lexi Agia. Put it middle, and that's picked off again by Larocque and flung all the way back to the development team's line. May Batherson then. Dropped off. Now it comes for Emmy Fecteau. Shot in on goaltender Desbiens. Got to steer it away from a good forecheck from Agia. But it's just going to come in behind the cage here. Ella Shelton double team there. Has Poulin come in to help. And the puck pinned into the dasher boards there. Finally dug free, and it's the national team coming away with it again. Here's Jenner. Brianne Jenner through center. Gonna tap that back in front. Gets to it herself, and the shot's a point-blank pad save that time from Hannah Murphy. Had to be quick to kick out the left skate. Now the dev team, this could be a 2-on-1 if they hustle for it. But that time Ann Cherkowski couldn't quite get it in front. Another feed in front that time from Sarah Paul, but it misses everybody. It goes all the way back into the development team zone. Back to the red, and Ambrose there to pick it off for the national team. Messier the intercept for the development squad here. Dished ahead for Paul to knock that out to the red line. There's Gabrielle David. Put it to the side of the cage. Desbiens leaves it for Ambrose. Tapped ahead. Eldridge poke checks that to the development team line. Scoops it up herself. Jessie Eldridge leading the rush here, but is offside. Didn't realize it. Finally the whistle goes, and we will have a quick media timeout. Back with more in just a moment, as it's a goal from Marie-Philippe Poulin from point-blank range, doubling the lead for Canada's national women's team. 2-0 over the development squad. Hockey lovers, are you looking for the inside scoop? Join fans of Canada's game across the country and around the world and receive the Hockey Canada Insider. Straight to your inbox, the Insider includes news and features about Team Canada, national and international events, and much more. Insiders also gain access to exclusive contests, ticket pre-sales, and other promotions. Sign up today at hockeycanada.ca/insider. Here at Winsport, Canada's national women's team just named today, wearing the red jerseys, up 2-0. Goal from Emily Clark in the first period. Marie-Philippe Poulin doubling that lead early in the second frame. A bit of a rude welcome to goaltender Hannah Murphy, who made a really good save just before that media timeout. So here's Julia Gosling chasing this one down for the development team. Getting set to face the United States later this week. The Women's Worlds in Denmark in August for the players in red that you see. As that long wrister blockered away from Desbiens. No screen there on the shot from Megan Carter. And Eldridge there, swarmed by a good aggressive forecheck from the development team. Once again, it's poked down low. Amy Potomac there, trying to chase it down. And there's a nice little pickoff right at the blue line from Gosling. But pressured back to neutral, and the development team will recollect here. With the long change here, they'll take advantage of this opportunity to get some fresh skates on the ice. And Fast puts that to neutral, but it bounced right off a teammate. And a bit of a hot potato there for Poulin, who finally gets to it in front of the penalty box. Has to cut back into her own zone. Now here comes the national team. And a good alert poke check there, knocking it free. I think that was Serdachny who took it away. There's a chance with a sharp angle shot that's saved and held by Anne-Renee Desbiens. And she holds on for a whistle-stopping play. So offensive zone draw for the development squad. They have put up 4 shots in this second period, and we're not even halfway through it. They only put up 5 in the entirety of the first period. So a real good pushback by them, despite giving up a goal just a minute 5 into the second period. On that shot off a net front scramble from Marie-Philippe Poulin. Ashton Bell now. Starting to cycle along the wall there for Sarah Nurse, who put it to the circle, and that one from Poulin deflects wide. There's Sophie Shirley at the far wall, left behind the net for Swiderski. And now back for Shirley. Scooped up from her though, but bounces out to neutral. Foot race for this. Could be a 2-on-1 opportunity. That was Potomac getting to it and feeding it in front, and Connors just had it roll out of her reach. Gotta love the hustle there from the development team, and then Connors gets knocked down at the half wall, and that is going to cause a body checking penalty. And it's going to be the third power play of this one for Team Canada's development team. Mickelson almost into the wrong penalty box there. It's unfamiliar quarters for a lot of players. Megan Mickelson in there for 2 or less, and the development team gets its third power play here, 0 for 2 so far. But that second one a lot better than was the first. And should mention the development team are almost halfway through the second period. And yes, they did have some power play time, but the development team's only allowed 2 shots on goal to the national team in this middle frame. Here's Blair Turnbull, though short-handed, showing off some real good speed. But couldn't get that one in deep that time, and Julia Gosling at the red. Dishes ahead for Potomac, but it bounced off her stick. And then a collision at neutral. Gosling, while falling down, still got a pass away. But the development team is scrambling a bit here in their own end. Again, just no space given by the national women's team when they're down a player. This penalty kill has been aggressive, to say the least. See if the development team can take advantage of the added space. The dump in comes down low. Micah Zandy Hart there. But couldn't clear this one out. It's caught up in the net, so the official will blow the whistle, and rightfully so. And probably face-off will stay down here. So approaching the halfway mark of this power play. And the development team hoping to get something through on Anne-Renee Desbiens. They'll look to Danielle Serdachny to take the draw. Colgate University forward, 53 points in 39 games this past year. Sophie Shirley there with it. It was Sophie Shirley. Comes back to the point. Sarah Swiderski dishes across and gets a return pass. Swiderski leaving it, and that one shot through a screen, and we'll get a scramble in front, but Serdachny couldn't get to it. The shot from Gardner got it going there from the left point. But now it's Serdachny from the high slot with a shot that sticked out of play by Desbiens. And a look there again at Danielle Serdachny out of Edmonton, Alberta. Not far from down here in Calgary where this camp's been held. And the face-off staying in the national team's end. And they're switching up the goaltenders. And Emmerich Mashmeyer comes in between the pipes. The national team veteran out of Bruderheim, Alberta, and Harvard grad. 5-time world championship medalist, and of course part of that 22 gold medal winning squad in Beijing where she had 2 starts. And a goals against of 0.5 in her appearances in that Olympic tournament. As the aggressive forecheck by the national team going to lead to a penalty here. It's flung all the way down. They'll touch up, and it's going to be a 5-on-3, briefly though it will be, for the development team. So welcome to the game, Emmerich Mashmeyer. You get to defend against a 5-on-3 immediately. Hooking is the call, and it was just aggressive play on the PK that the national team has been burned for here. Marie-Philippe Poulin, who heads into the box. And 11 seconds of 5-on-3 coming up here for the development squad against a goaltender who's come in cold. Should mention in talking about Mashmeyer, those 5 medals at the World Championship included her being named the best goaltender of the 2016 World Championship. Of course, this will be the first year of the new IIHF policy of still holding the Women's Worlds even in an Olympic year. In case you're wondering why we're talking about the 22 Olympics and the 22 World Championship, they are going to be held in the same years from here on out. Used to be they would take a year off when the Olympic tournaments were going on. That one fed backdoor, scores! Julia Gosling taps it home from the left side, and the development team is on the board with a power play marker to cut the deficit to 2-1. Julia Gosling out of St. Lawrence University, who was one of Canada's top 3 players at the 2019 under-18s when Canada won gold. Played twice in that tournament. Showing off a great play there, finishing a perfect pass from the far side and had the whole net to shoot at. Practically nothing Mashmeyer could have done on that play. And Julia Gosling out of London, Ontario gets her team on the board. See if the national team can respond here. They've been held to just 2 shots here, and we're well over halfway through this second period. Another icing call against the development team, and the national squad will have an ozone draw when we return. Julia Gosling gets the development team on the board on hockeycanada.ca. Well, change of plans. They're not going to take those media timeouts when there's an icing. I thought that's what they should have done in the first period too, so we're all on the same page now. Hey, we're all developing, including the broadcasters and timekeepers. So on the attack is the national team, looking to reclaim that 2-goal advantage. Giving up 7 shots in the second period, being outshot 7-2. Certainly discipline's been a bit of an issue, but most of this period has still been at even strength. So it's been a real good pushback by the players in white. But this now, Sarah Potomac putting it to the side of the net, and Emma Malte just had it caught up in her skates, then falls. Cleared all the way down here, and they'll have to get it going from their own end once again, will the national team. Kristen O'Neill shoots that one in deep and gives chase, but it was spun free quickly. They're gonna race for this one as Mickelson got there first. To the red line it goes. Batherson shot it the other way, and O'Neill again there to recollect. Dishes ahead for Ella Shelton. She's stripped of it though, as it comes down low for Agia. She puts it middle, and that one chopped at by Gardner, and it bounces over the net. Now 4 players in behind the net of Mashmeyer. Swatted all the way down ice. Could be icing here. Looks like it won't be. And the national team trying to take this one away. The development squad hurried to change there as that puck was slowly going down ice. Now Lexi Agia wins a physical battle at her own blue and gets that out to neutral. National team again, that's Nurse. Ahead for Poulin. Couldn't get it into the O zone though. Now you can see the development team starting to generate a little bit of chemistry here. A bit quicker on the outlet passes and much more tape to tape. Saw some beautiful chemistry on display from the national women's team in that first period. You could tell a lot of them were used to playing with each other. So here again is Ambrose down deep of her own end for the national team. Now to Marie-Philippe Poulin. That's a perfect pass to neutral. Now for Jenner to carry in. Brianne Jenner holds on and surveys. Penalty coming up as it's dished across. Poulin put it off the outside of the net. And it's touched up for the whistle that stops play for the penalty. It was a player who had gone to the front of the net and got slashed. Couldn't quite tell who it was. As the player in turn, it might have been Micah Zandi Hart. She headed off to the bench a little bit gingerly after taking that stick sort of around the forearm area, it looked like, at least from the corner of our eye. And Ashley Messier goes to the box for the development team, and it's a power play now for the national women's team, just their second of the game. Major opportunity now. So they'll get possession at the point. That was Jocelyn Larocque dishing it to the far side. And Larocque once more. Now Ella Shelton. That sharp angle try was from Eldridge. Comes to the high slot there, and a good block of that one from Larocque, who took the shot. Looked like Gosling, who got in the way and blocked it. Tough to tell with the numbers just on the backs there. Sorry, it was Carter, I should say, Megan Carter, who made that shot block on that last play. And here's Larocque holding on behind her own cage to start another power play breakout. Still just the 2 shots on goal in this second period, by the way, not to belabor the point. For the national women's team, as the development squad's done a much better job of A, not allowing them much time in the offensive zone, but B, getting in the way of their shots in those rare instances where they have. But now it's still a minute of power play left. You got to figure some are coming soon. Sarah Fillier put that across. Pushed back in front, and it was caught up in the skates of Sarah Nurse. Couldn't get a shot away. So again, Brianne Jenner down there, or rather Poulin it was, leaving in turn for Fillier, and then out to the point it comes. Now for Nurse, who's again quickly sandwiched by a couple of defenders. And a good PK job here by the development team, but now Fillier's got some time and space. Dishes that one across, Poulin shoots and just missed. And it ricochets out of play. So plenty of good passing, good opportunities, but the power play unit not able to break through quite yet. So we see Erin Ambrose there out of Keswick, Ontario. Clarkson University grad who won gold in Beijing and World Championship gold here in Calgary in 2021, where she was a tournament all-star at the 21 Worlds. Off the draw. This will be Jenner again setting up and leaving for Fillier, and back to Jenner. Dished up top again. And Ambrose shoots through a screen, and that pinball may have caught goaltender Murphy on the way through, but it ends up going in behind the cage. No shot on goal credited, so looks like it did just bounce off a player and away to the end wall in that last shot. Another chance there. Good one-timer. Poulin just misses. It's going to come out to Ambrose at the point. Time runs out in the power play. Great PK in this one for the development squad. Officially, they did not allow a shot in that entire 2-minute span. This is Emily Clark, though, who has a goal in this one, dishing behind the net for Jenner. Brianne Jenner hit by her numerical counterpart, Serdachny. It's going to come out to the point again. Zandi Hart across for Fast and then down low. Fast again, leaves for Micah Zandi Hart, and now for Clark. Turning and shooting and scores! Emily Clark with the turnaround wrister from the high slot. Looked like it caught something on the way through and deflects by Hannah Murphy to give the national women's team a 3-1 lead. Goal at 15:42 of the second period. Clark's second of the game. That's another 2-goal advantage for the national women's team, and that goal comes on just their 3rd shot of this second period. Clark once again with lots of time to look for that hat trick. Leaves for Rattray to shoot it back in deep. That one rolling around in front, but it was Megan Carter who gets this out to the red line now. Shot back in by the national team. Goaltender Murphy going to leave it there for a defender. Now you can see a bit of more of a spring to the step of the national team here with this aggressive forecheck now. Emma Malte down in the corner has it. Malte pushes it across and a wide open opportunity there. Another good shot block. That was Megan Carter getting in the way again. The national team keeps the pressure on. It was Ashton Bell who got that first shot away that was blocked. Now driving in front. It's off his stick as that was Stacy who drove to the side of the cage to set it up. But again, they couldn't get a shot through. Gloved down by Mickelson at the neutral zone, but then taken away. Maggie Connors carries it, dishes in front, and it just went through the skates of Ann Shirkowski driving to the front of the net. Nearly a great scoring chance off the rush for the development team. Now O'Neill, Kristen O'Neill through neutral, bounces that one in. And Rylan McKinnon gets there first for the development squad, but tied up with Laura Stacy for the national team. And taken away behind the cage, a wraparound try, and that one coming from Sarah Potomac. They're a nurse on this draw, wins it cleanly. And Potomac out to the high slot with it. They pulled that one off perfectly off the draw, but a good save from Hannah Murphy through traffic, and she holds on for a whistle. Very well done. The draw won cleanly. The cut to the high slot. The crowd forms in front of Murphy. You'll see plays like that result in a lot of goals for this national women's team. Now here's Fast driving down the wall. Had it poke check free though, but then keeps the battle going down at the end wall as a teammate come in to help out. That was Eldridge as it's swung along the dasher to the far side now. And out to neutral this comes. Larocque settling it down. Spun ahead for Fillier and knifed it in. That'll be Sarah Potomac getting to this one. Dished back behind the net. Larocque, or rather that's Eldridge, trying to center for Poulin. Deflected off of her, but then comes to Erin Ambrose, who'll drive down low. Ambrose sweeps it back behind, just out of Poulin's reach. The national team on a change, and almost too many for them as fresh off the bench. They can keep this one in and prevent an offside. If those two players hadn't hopped onto the bench at the perfect time there, would have been a 2-on-1 the other way for the development team. Ambrose to keep it. Then Poulin puts it up top, and Jenner's shot, another save Murphy. Another chance for Jenner, but she just overskates it. And it's dug free nicely by Sarah Paul, and it's gotten out to the neutral zone. Development team needs a change here. And they'll get one, but they did not get the puck in deep. Jenner on the counterattack now. Barely onside for Poulin. As she dropped it back, it was out of Jenner's reach. And the development squad can hustle for this one now. David carries in, shoots, scores! Looked like Maggie Connors getting to that one on the rush. And a perfectly placed shot. No, I was right the first time. Gabrielle David who got to that one. Carried in and fired it top shelf. And gets them back to within one goal. Gabrielle David out of Drummondville, Quebec. With that shot from the right side. Shouldn't doubt myself so much, but you see the number 18 on the helmet conflicting with the 10 on the back of the jersey. No, we were right that first time. It's a great shot there to get the development squad back to within one, and we've got a real entertaining one here down the stretch. So Mickelson now losing that one, and Sarah Wozniewicz gets it out to the neutral zone, chases it down herself, has Gabrielle David behind her, but is going to shoot it herself, and the save was made by Maschmeyer. Back up top it comes now. And that shot's blocked in front. And the development squad recollecting down low in the dying seconds of the second period. Wheeler carrying in, tied up with Malte. Spun off to that far side. And that's again Larocque, who's played a lot of minutes in this one, leaving for Fast behind the cage. And now Jocelyn Larocque. Fired ahead. And Renata Fast gets to this, driving down the wall. Sharp angle try, and that's nicely handled by Murphy. And she'll hold on to that one for a whistle. With just 0.3 of a second officially remaining in the second period. Probably try to drop this one nice and quickly. In fact, the national team will pull the goaltender just to make it fun. And get the extra player out there for that play you hold on to for that third of a second left. And hey, you may find yourself in a situation like this where you got to try to get a quick shot away, and that's what they do right there. But it is instead our second intermission buzzer, and we head into it with the same margin we had after one period. Marie-Philippe Poulin and Emily Clark score for the national women's team. Julia Gosling breaks the goose egg, no pun intended, for Team White, the development squad, and Gabrielle David with a highlight reel wrister off the rush to make it a one-goal game, 3-2 after 40 minutes. Third period coming up on hockeycanada.ca. After a fairly reserved first period, we had a 4-goal outburst in the middle frame. Canada's national women's team in the red jerseys on your right, leading 3-2 over the newly named U22 development squad on your left, which now has goaltender Reagan Kirk between the pipes, number 1. As it's the national women's team right back on the attack. Emmerich Mashmeyer still between the pipes for the national women's team, so they'll split the 2 goaltenders on the NWT side, and then each goaltender gets a period for the development team. Marie-Philippe Poulin there with it, dishes across, and that quick wrister scores! Brianne Jenner makes it a 2-goal lead for the national team, just 29 seconds into the third. And an excellent setup there for Marie-Philippe Poulin to put that puck through the slot to her. And the MVP of the 22 Olympic tournament at 14 points in 7 games in Beijing shows off her scoring panache there to make it 4-2. That's kind of been the theme of this one, is rude welcomes for new goaltenders in this one. It seems like the first shot each goalie faces is a grade A scoring chance. We get an icing call there against the national team, so the face-off will come back to their end of center. It was a busy second period. In case you're just joining us, it was Marie-Philippe Poulin who opened the scoring just over a minute in to make it 2-0 for the national team. Julia Gosling finished off a backdoor feed at the 10:30 mark to get the development squad on the board before Emily Clark scored her second of the game from the high slot to make it 3-1. But in the dying minutes of the second period, Gabrielle David scores off the rush and made it a 3-2 game before that goal you just saw there from Brianne Jenner, making it 4-2 for the national women's team. The development team actually outshot the national team in the second period. 8-7 was the final, as Micah Zandy Hart there dishes that one down low. Sarah Potomac there with it to put it toward the slot. It's off a stick, and Zandy Hart will recollect back at the neutral zone. Jesse Eldridge now carrying in, has Potomac heading to the front of the net. Cut off down there though. And the development team can get this out to neutral. Trying to make this a 1-goal game again. Wheeler carrying in. Pushing that one over to Amy Potomac. As we mentioned, each of the sisters is on opposing teams for this one. Amy on the development team and Sarah on the national team. Of course, Sarah having won World Championship silver back in 2017 and U18 silver back in the 2015 edition of that tournament, where she was the U18 tournament MVP. Potomac's out of Aldergrove, BC. As this one kept in by Ryland McKinnon. Behind the net, Mashmeyer couldn't settle that one down, so the development team tried to keep the pressure on here. But Clark manages to get that one out to neutral. Emily Clark, who has 2 goals in this one. Chased down here for Blair Turnbull, but lost her footing there at the end wall. And Tchaikovsky can knock that out to the neutral zone. Larocque sends it the other way. Taken back once again here. Spun in deep by the national squad's Victoria Bach. Right back to the neutral zone now for Larocque, and now for O'Neill. Kristen O'Neill leading this rush. Centering pass off a stick there. Malte trying to settle it down for between her skates. But it's taken back by Sarah Wozniewicz. And now a high lifted bouncing puck. It's going to go down to the national team's end. They'll let it go. Going to wave off the icing there. And it'll be Larocque once again, using her speed to get that out to the neutral zone. Tapped the other way by Megan Carter. And the stick of Wozniewicz is knocked out of her hands. Nothing comes of that. And the national team on the attack. Zandy Hart just had it bounce out of her reach. Micah Zandy Hart again, pushes that one down low. And it's then swept free by Megan Carter. Lost her footing, but still got it to the neutral zone. Back to get it now, Brianne Jenner. Gosling there, who had the puck momentarily. Could get it out to the red line. Poulin tied up a forechecking development camp forward there, development team forward there. And it's the white squad recollecting in their own zone again. Again, just a bit misfired on that pass, but it did come in turn to Maddie Wheeler for the carry. Couldn't get that one through the middle though, and Wheeler then got tied up in the high slot as she tried to battle for that one. And the national team again. All the way around the world went Bell as it's then fed over for a point shot that misses on the short side. Potomac there had it bounce out of her reach, and Sarah Fillier recollects, but that one blocked immediately by Maggie Connors. And the national team, it's Larocque once again. Nice pass once more. Now left for Renata Fast, and then Larocque puts it to neutral again. Hopped off a stick, but comes right to Sarah Potomac for the carry in. Nice move around a defender, but caught in behind the net. Just quickly flung that in front, and they couldn't jam it in on goal. Fillier there was tied up with a defender. I think it was Mae Batherson in front there, and then just missing on the one-timer there was Fillier. And Amy Potomac was denied trying to get out of the zone. She'll get another try at it at the red line here. Tangled up with Larocque, though. It's a hard battle to win. The national team's got it once again. Clark looking for the hat trick. Dropping this one back, and it'll be a keep in from Blair Turnbull to spin it down behind the net. And then a good forecheck from Jamie Lee Rattray to get that free. Couldn't get a scoring chance away, though, but Micah Zandy-Hart in to get it once again. Trying to pass that to the point, but it's intercepted. Spun all the way down ice, though, and another icing call here against the development squad. It's going to mean an offensive zone draw for Canada's national women's team, just over a quarter of the way through this third period. And a goal just 29 seconds in from Brianne Jenner on a beautiful cross-slot setup for Marie-Philippe Poulin. Has given them a 2-goal lead, but they've never had more than a 2-goal lead in this one. Got to give a lot of credit to the U22 squad and the white jerseys for keeping this one as tenaciously close as they have. Kristen O'Neill there was pinned in the corner. And the intercept force there as the development team can shoot that in and head for the change they were trying to get when that icing whistle went. Alta spins that one middle, and the pass ahead by Stacey was out of everyone's reach, and it's going to be a rare icing call against the national team. So they're denied a line change. They were trying to hurry there by the bench. So we see Emma Malte there, number 27. The top female collegiate player in college hockey with Ohio State back in 2020, and one of many returnees from the Beijing gold medal squad. They'll try to go for gold in Denmark in August at the Women's World Championship. First time that'll happen in the same year as an Olympic tournament. Which you love to see, especially after COVID forced the tournament's cancellation back in 2020. A chance off the rush here. Poulin's in the slot, waiting for a pass. It's then fed to the back door and swept out of the blue paint by a development team defender. That was Ann Cherkowski, who was just standing at the top of the blue paint there. Couldn't see who it was who had the puck originally. Tried to put it through the crease to Poulin, but Cherkowski got there with her stick and swatted it out as it was rolling towards the goal line. That saved a sure goal right there for the development squad on that defensive play by them. And now Ashton Bell back in her own end, giving it to Megan Mikkelsen. Mikkelsen, three-time Olympic medalist. Going all the way back to the 2010 tournament where she won gold. Two-time NCAA champion as well with Wisconsin in both 06 and 07 was Megan Mikkelsen. But a penalty here to the development team. Going to send the national squad to the power play. Ashley Messier is in the box. And Team Red over 2 on the power play in this one. Kristen O'Neill in to take the draw. Mae Batherson banked that one off the end boards on a quick clear to the neutral zone for Maddie Wheeler, who will bounce that one in deep at the national team's end. They'll recollect here. Lots of time to go in this power play as they try to get set up. Eldridge pressured as she carried in, but got it down to the corner. Sarah Swiderski getting there for the development team, but taken back, and the national squad can now set up. O'Neill with some space there, trying to dish it to the back door, but a good alert poke check there. And it's knocked all the way down ice again by Mae Batherson. The Nova Scotian heads off to the bench after getting that clearance through. And the national team again with an attack through neutral. That one deflects out of play. But still just over half the power play to go as the try there from Brianne Jenner just missed the target. Out of Oakville, Ontario, graduate of the Cornell Big Red, three-time medalist in 22 Olympics with the gold, silver in 18, gold in 2014. And as we mentioned, was the MVP and a tournament all-star at the Beijing Games. Was Jenner, who opened this third period scoring with a beautiful finish of a pass from Poulin. And the aforementioned Marie-Philippe Poulin skates her way in, almost got her way around Gosling there, who was back defending. Couldn't quite do it that time, and now another try from the circle, fed to the back door, tipped on goal, and a great save made by Reagan Kirk. That was a heck of a stop right there by the development squad netminder, and it's cleared all the way down the ice, and the stick taps from the bench on that one. Sarah Paul gets in for this one shorthanded to try to milk some more time off the clock, but it's taken back, and here comes the national team again. Jamie Lee Rattray out of Clarkson University, dishes back door, and that one ricocheted off a stick, and Sarah Paul can take it back for the development team and rim it around the dasher and all the way down the ice. Final seconds of this power play here, and looked like it should have been a sure goal a couple of rushes ago, but Reagan Kirk showing off a real good side-to-side movement to keep that opportunity out of the net. And now the development team is back to full strength. Rattray just missed that one in front. Micah Zandy Hart now driving down to the end wall, but it's picked off here by Markowski for the development team. Stephanie Markowski, the Edmontonian, bounces it all the way down. Could be icing again, and it is. As that play will come back down to Reagan Kirk's crease, we'll get a chance to chat about the development team goaltender who played 2 years at Robert Morris University to begin her collegiate career before heading to Ohio State beginning last year. Back in the 2019 Under-18 Women's Worlds, she was not only a gold medalist with Team Canada, but also the most valuable player of that tournament. Kirk out of St. Anne, Manitoba. And the draw. Won by the national team here as they'll try to set this up. Power play style, despite the fact they're back to full strength. With Mickelson's shot that didn't get through. And again, Megan Mickelson keeps this in. No, it's dug free, and this could be an odd man opportunity. Amy Potomac driving her way in. Potomac shoots. Great save, Maschmeyer, and holds on for a whistle. We'll step aside for a moment after a highlight reel save by the national team goaltender. Just barely denied Amy Potomac, almost making it a one-goal game. It's a busy summer for Hockey Canada with camps and events through to the middle of September. So make sure you're checking out hockeycanada.ca for scores, stats, stories, and more. You can also follow @HockeyCanada on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to engage in real time. Feels like by all rights we should be talking about another one-goal game here after Team White had a nearly 2-on-nobody breakaway just before that media timeout. And it was Amy Potomac who had a great chance from the left side. Looked like she picked her spot perfectly, but Emmerich Mashmeyer making perhaps the save of the night to keep it a 2-goal lead for the national team. Ooh, and some consternation on that icing call. You love when there's that level of energy about borderline calls in an intra-squad game. And you can tell both these teams taking this one very, very seriously, but the national women's team will have to face another defensive zone draw here after that one is ruled to be icing. They did not beat it out. And we've got dueling face-off circles here. The development team setting up in the right wing circle, the near side, and it looks like they were the correct ones. So we'll just skirt on over to that other side. And here we go. Gosling dishes that one middle, and that long wrister punched away by Mashmeyer. And a good shot from Megan Carter. This one deflects all the way back into their end. Nicole Gosling back to get this one. And it was Julia Gosling, number 88, who opened the scoring for the development squad. But Nicole's been on the end of some really good defensive plays for the development team in this one. Shots on goal, by the way, are just 23-17 in favor of the national women's team. As this U22 squad more than holding their own against some of the best players in the world. Jocelyn Larocque now, certainly fitting that category. She gets it to Jenner, who fits that category. And down to the corner where Marie-Philippe Poulin, you know what I was going to say after her name there, couldn't settle it down, and the development team will recollect here in their own end. Point is, a lot of talent on the ice, and a pleasure to be able to see it, and to be able to bring it to you free of charge here on hockeycanada.ca. A lot of effort goes in from the crew in the hockey operations department, but particularly shout outs to the communications professionals at Hockey Canada, who I believe are some of the most unsung heroes in the industry, who put these camps together and ensure that broadcasts like this can be brought to you. And we're just happy to be a part of it with our HN Live crew. It's chased down here by Megan Mikkelsen. That one taken back out to neutral by the development squad. They'll settle things down here. Oh, good poke check there that time by Emily Clark, though. Has 2 goals in this one and a lot of real good plays outside of the scoring ones, too. Got that one in deep, but now the development team back on the attack. Danielle Serdachny shoots that one in deep. The chase down here by Ella Shelton as Serdachny got hauled down in front of the net. Now here comes Emily Clark. The Saskatoon native stymied at the opposing blue, but got it into the offensive end. Shelton spin that around the end wall, and there a chase down from Emma Malte again. Tangled up with Serdachny, but got it back toward the point. Smartly, though, Larocque vacated the zone, and that'll allow her to chase this one down. Rim it up the wall, looking for Rattray. Now Laura Stacey. She'll lead this rush. Try a sharp angle try that's right on. Rebound there, bouncing in a second save made by Kirk. Another try here as it's dropped back to Fast, and then behind the back it'll come to Larocque again. That one deflects back behind the cage. Wraparound try again, and Reagan Kirk gets on top of that one. And was statuesque in the crease to not allow anything easy to find its way through. The Ohio State goaltender. And as we mentioned, MVP of the 2019 Women's Under-18 Championship. One of 3 goaltenders that we've seen on this development squad here today. Kayla Osborne got it going with some really big stops in the first period. Remember, they were being outshot 8-1 early in the first period in this one, and Osborne kept it close. Hannah Murphy made some highlight reel stops in the second period as well, the Bradford, Ontario native and Colgate University goaltender. Now Reagan Kirk down the home stretch for the development team. As we'll see what the goaltending choices are when the series against the United States gets going later this week. The development squad and the U18 squad will be taking on their American counterparts as that one deflects its way home on a sharp angle centering pass. And the national women's team has extended the lead to 3 goals. Looked like Jessie Eldridge, who fired that one in front from just outside the right corner. And it took an awkward deflection there and skipped its way in along the goal line to give the national team a 5-2 advantage. So for Jessie Eldridge, another Colgate University player from 3 years ago. Who played for Montreal in the pro ranks in the 2021 season. Gets the team's 5th goal of this one, just under 13 minutes in. Their largest lead of this one. But not about the wins and losses in these intra-squad scenarios. Certainly about development of individual players and a chance to showcase their talents, and we've seen plenty of that over the course of this afternoon affair. Aaron Ambrose back for this, puts it to neutral. Here's Sarah Nurse. Dished over for Brianne Jenner, who has a goal. Sharp angled try, and Kirk knocks that one down and gets on top of it, denying Brianne Jenner on that one. Cornell grad, who, as we said, 3-time Olympic medalist as well. And that the 28th shot that the national women's team has fired in this one. Nearly number 29 there, but it just misses the target on the shot from Victoria Bach. Sarah Potomac down here. Sharp angle shot, knocked down by a sliding block there from Ryland McKinnon. And it's the little things you really learn to appreciate in games like this. Some of the shot blocks in this one, particularly by the development team, have been a big reason why this game has been as close as it has been, despite the fact that, understandably so, the national women's team has had a lot of the puck possession in this one. There's Gabrielle David, who scored one of their goals, forced in behind her own net there. So she'll leave it for Megan Carter. Lifts a high clear out to neutral. Larocque managed to glove it down, but then was pushed down by Wozniewicz, and it's shot in deep of the national team's end. There's Emmerin Smashmeyer once again. Played exhibition hockey several years back for the Lloydminster Bobcats in the Alberta Junior Hockey League, becoming just the 2nd female goalie after Shannon Zabados to suit up in a junior A game in Alberta. So puck knocked free once again by the development team here, and it's Shirley out to the red line. Taken back, and here's the national team with the 5-minute mark of the 3rd period approaching here. Kristen O'Neill backhanding that one in, and they'll head off for a much-needed change. And an icing call forced there as the development team not finding much open ice and certainly not finding many passing lanes against some real tight and effective defense by this national women's team. So Amy Potomac in for that drop, but the national team won it. Micah Zandy Hart, that shot tipped in on goal, and Reagan Kirk makes another save. We'll step aside for a moment. Final media timeout of this one as we head into the home stretch. It's a big, big goal by Jessie Eldridge that deflects home and gives the national women's team a 5-2 lead in the final minutes of the 3rd period. If you're wondering about that series, the development team you see in the white jerseys is going to play against the U.S. It gets going on Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time. They're going to play Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday against the United States, all of them here at Winsport, all of them available on video.hockeycanada.ca. You can follow along with the scores at hockeycanada.ca as well. I believe the all-star team of Peter Labardius and Sandra Persina will be back for those broadcasts, as it's taken again by the national women's team. Again, their main goal coming up later this month when they head to Denmark for the World Championship. Micah Zandy Hart to keep in there. Pushed it down to the end boards, going to pop out in front, but Mae Matherson was there to take it away. Get it all the way back down to the national team's end. Eldridge there overskates it. which allows the pickup from Maggie Connors, but couldn't drive to the middle. Spun back out to the red line. Now Potomac. That one is Amy, who bounced it in on goal. Easier save for Maschmeyer that time. And Sarah Nurse there. Sweeps it out to the neutral zone. Still completing a change there is the national team. And a good turnover forced at their blue line. Brianne Jenner there with it. Driving through the opposing blue, but again met by a swarm of defenders herself. And Lexi Agia now the other way, but it's an offside carry and then from Ann Cherkowski. She plays for Clarkson in the NCAA ranks. 35 games played for her last year, where she had 4 goals and 10 points. Vernon, BC native. And the face-off now will be just outside the national team's end. Lexi Agia out to take this draw. Played 36 games for Quinnipiac in the college ranks last year. 8 goals and 28 points for her in that one. It's the centering feed nicely picked off here. And it's the aforementioned Ann Cherkowski leading this rush. Poking this one down the end boards. But again, a quick turnover forced. And this will be Jenner muscling it out to the red line. Now Clark, who has 2 goals in this one, which I believe I've mentioned far too many times. But they were very impressive goals, so they deserve repeating. Shot in turn by Emmy Fecteau there. She'll poke it free behind the net, try to get that one in front. Good tenacious forecheck again here, and Fecteau gets a shot away. He was pretty much 1-on-3 and just barely missed on the short side. Down low there is David, who has a goal in this one. Caught up to by Blair Turnbull, number 40, but again back behind the net here is Sarah Wozniewicz. Taken away again, Victoria Bach got that to the blue line. Not out though. The development team changing up a couple of players here. And the national squad, long stretch pass looking for Bach. Missed her, but no icing. The development team at least looking to have the last laugh in this one by getting one by Maschmeyer, but since allowing that goal in the second period from David, they've been perfect. Has both Maschmeyer and the team in front of her. That one flung in behind. Penalty coming up here as O'Neill was hauled down. A scramble ensues in front of the net, but the development team touches up, and it's going to be called interference, and it's going to send the national team to a power play pretty much to end the game unless they do something overly aggressive. But it's going to be Nicole Gosling who heads to the box for the development team and the 4th power play of the game here for Canada's national women's team. They are 0 for 3, and it is worth noting that as the development team here gets ready for their series starting Wednesday against the U.S., their PK has been pretty darn good, and importantly hasn't had to just rely on great saves from the goaltenders, though they have made more than their fair share. Remember the second power play of this game. There's a shot, scores! Sarah Nurse getting to that one just below the left hash marks and sweeping it home. And the national women's team makes it a 6-2 game in the final minutes of the third. First save was made nicely by Kirk through traffic there, but the rebound bounced perfectly there. And are Jenner and Nurse discussing who actually got it? It was definitely Sarah Nurse. Yes, there we go. And she's the first one off to the bench there. So they do finally break through on the power play, and it does kind of counter my point there, but as we get set for this development team to take on the U.S., PK really a bright spot for them. And remember that second power play the national women's team had, the development team didn't allow a single shot on goal. So certainly going to be some great video for them to review, not just of mistakes to correct, but also of real good habits by this squad that they'll want to accentuate going into that series. Because remember, far less chemistry for that team in white as compared to this team in red, which is chock full of returnees from that team that, I mean, really isn't that far removed from the Beijing tournament. Turnbull. Shooting, scores! What a rocket from Blair Turnbull as it goes top right corner and puts the exclamation mark on this one to make it a 7-2 game. Well, Blair Turnbull, former captain at the University of Wisconsin, a 4-time world championship medalist, and two-time Olympic medalist, the silver in 2018, the gold in 2022. Of course, perhaps well known for, I shouldn't mention it, but her overly boisterous celebration after that big dramatic gold medal win. She was actually a guest speaker at a fundraising dinner down in Brooks, Alberta, that I had the pleasure of emceeing just a few months ago, and had great tales of growing up in small town Nova Scotia and working her way to be able to compete on the national team, and now, of course, with great potential for the growth of the women's professional game. It was great to hear some of those insights, and really, if you have time, just enter some of the names of these national women's team players into YouTube and listen to some of the great conversations they've had about the journeys that have brought them to this highest pinnacle of women's hockey, because it is absolutely fascinating stuff and stories that frankly don't quite get told enough. And one small chapter in that story being told here with this tune-up for the national women's squad. Looks like it'll go down as a 7-2 win for them against the up-and-comers of Hockey Canada's women's program. But some great highlight performances over the course of this one, and we're absolutely pleased and privileged to have brought it to you. As the final seconds will tick away, and Canada's national women's team takes this one by a 7-2 final score as they get set to head to Denmark for the Worlds. Canada's U22 development team, though, looks like they're going to be a tough test for the United States coming up on Wednesday. Remember, that'll be the next broadcast involving that squad. 7:30 Mountain, that's 9:30 for those of you in the Eastern time zone. And what would that be in Newfoundland? 10:40, 11 o'clock in Newfoundland, I believe. But more importantly, as there is, by the way, a Newfoundlander, Maggie Connors, number 18, didn't mention, is from St. John's. But anyway, it's all on hockeycanada.ca as they'll start their three-game series with the United States. They'll come to center for the handshake lines, and that'll do it for us, our HN Live crew from Winsport in Calgary. For Chris Colwell and Ron Radke and all of us at HN Live, we thank you so much for tuning in. Your final score, once again, you see it on the screen. Canada's national team 7, Canada's development team 2. We'll be back with you on Wednesday night when this development squad takes on the United States. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Tyler King saying good evening from Calgary.